This is Mrs. Naslund, and today we'll be looking at Unit 4, Lesson 5, Perimeter and Area of Triangles. Our learning target for today is, I can find the perimeter and area of a triangle. The vocab words that we'll be focusing on are perimeter and area. Let's go ahead and get started. First, let's review perimeter with quadrilaterals. If you remember, perimeter is the area on the outside of a shape. And to find that perimeter, we add each of these numbers together to get the perimeter. So in this case, I'm going to add 6 plus 5 plus 9 plus 12. And when I add all of those together, I get an area of 32 yards. How about number 4 down here? If I look here, I could add 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8, or I could think of it as 8 times 4. When I do that, I get the perimeter of 32 inches. Does this technique work with all quadrilaterals? Absolutely. When we add all of the sides together, we get the perimeter, or the outside length of a quadrilateral. Now, the question is, will this work the same for triangles? And the answer is yes. We can use this technique for any polygon, and a triangle is considered a polygon. So let's try it. Here's a triangle down here. Each of the sides are 7 centimeters long. So just like with the quadrilaterals, I can either add it as 7 plus 7 plus 7, or I can say 7 times 3. When I do that, I get the perimeter of 21 centimeters. Now you give it a shot. With this figure here, think about how can I find the perimeter of this shape? Well, if you got 24 inches, you were correct. What I did is I took 10 times 2, which gave me 20, and then I added 4 more in, which gave me 24. And I have to remember to put my inches mark in there as part of my answer. Now let's go on and talk about area. Area of a triangle. First, it says to go ahead and draw in a congruent triangle that matches this triangle. So I'm going to go ahead and take my line tool here, and I'm going to go ahead and create a congruent triangle, just like we did in lesson 4.4, that makes then a rectangle, right? So this shape that we just created was a rectangle. Now the question is, how do I find the area of a rectangle? Well, if you think back, to find the area, we're going to take the base times the height, and that'll give us the area of this rectangle. So my base is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units long times 1, 2, 3, 4 units long. So 7 times 4 is 28 square units. Now that's the area of the quadrilateral, but it wants to know what half that number is. So half of 28, if I do 28 divided by 2, I'm going to get 14 square units. So the area of the whole rectangle is 28 square units, and the area of half of the rectangle is 14 square units. So number 12 here, it says, what figure is half of the quadrilateral? What figure do you see there? Yeah, it's a triangle. So you say to yourself then, what is the area of that triangle? Well, it is half of what we got the area of the rectangle to be. So the rectangle, remember, we took 7 times 4 and we got 28. And half of 28 is 14. So the area of this triangle here is 14 square units. Good. Now what triangle measurement did we not use? We didn't use this D here. All we needed to figure out the area of that triangle was the base and the height. We didn't need that diagonal that went right on through. So now it's asking us to write a formula to find the area of a right triangle. This is the tricky part. Well, I know that the area of the rectangle was base times height. That gave me 28. And in order to find half of that, I'd have to divide it by 2. So I'm going to say that the formula for a triangle is base times height divided by 2. Let's see if I'm right. Yeah, base times height divided by 2. So we're going to remember that the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. All right, let's continue and practice that some more. So again, we know that the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. I'm going to keep this up in the corner so we can keep referring back to it as we work through finding the area of some of these triangles. So if I read my directions here, it wants me to find both the perimeter and area of each triangle. So remember, perimeter is the same as finding the perimeter of a quadrilateral. We're going to add each of the sides together. So I'm going to say the perimeter is 5 plus 3 plus 4. 5 plus 3 plus 4, which gives us a total of 12 centimeters. All right, now I want to find the area of that triangle. So again, area is base times height. So my base is the bottom of my triangle. So 4 times 3. So I'm just go ahead and write that out for you. 4 times 3. And then I'm going to actually divide that number by 2. Now when I'm typing, I'm going to write divide like that, which is different than we're used to seeing. But it means the same thing as divide. So 4 times 3 divided by 2. Because remember, we want half of that rectangle or square that would be created. So with that calculation, I get 4 times 3 is 12, and I divide that by 2. I end up with an area of 6. And again, I'm going to write it as square centimeters because it's area. All right, let's try one more together here. Now this one's a little different because it doesn't have a right triangle. It's a different type of triangle. But let's go ahead and try it and see if it works. So first, the perimeter. All right, first for perimeter, again, I'm going to add the outsides together. So we've got 4 plus 4 plus 7, which ends up equaling 8 plus 7, which is 15. All right, and then for the area, we're going to do base times height. And if they're asking you to find the area of a triangle, they're always going to give you the height. If it's not a right triangle, which means that it's part of the sides. But in this case, it's not, so they're giving me the height. So my area is 7 times 2 divided by 2. So base, the bottom of the triangle, times the height of the triangle divided by 2. So 7 times 2 ends up equaling 14 divided by 2, which gives us 7 centimeters squared, or square centimeters. We'll write that. Here we go. All right, this last one I want you to work out. So let's go ahead and try it here. First thing I want you to calculate is the perimeter of this triangle. We're looking at number 22 here. So look at your sides and go ahead and calculate your perimeter. All right, when you do that, you would have to add 7 plus 9 plus 10, which would end up giving you 26 centimeters. Oops. And then for area, think about our equation up here. Area equals base times height divided by 2. And go ahead and see if we can calculate that as well. All right. So my base is this number right down here at the bottom of the triangle, 10 times height, which is 6, divided by 2. All right, so if I calculate that out, 10 times 6 is 60, divided by 2 ends up equaling 30 square centimeters. So today we talked about how to find the perimeter of a triangle, and we also talked about how to find the area of a triangle. That concludes our lesson for today.